Welcome back. One of the most powerful things you can do is use sensations in your body to dive into and to help you to unravel conditioning that you can't get to any other way. This works especially well for things that you really can't get at in terms of understanding what it might be that's actually causing it, including things that are pre-verbal, that go back so early in your nervous system that, your brain wasn't even developed enough to understand what the conditioning was that went in. And then it's just been layered on top of over the years, more and more and more. And now it's just sort of this giant onion wrapped around this original core thing that happened to you maybe when you were 1 year old or something, right? That's affected your whole life. That type of stuff can be so hard to get at, as can things that have occurred to you that, your mind is just shut off, that it just has decided, I'm not going to give you access to what it was that produced that. Your body, however, is a great place to get that access. And one of the best methods out there is a method called focusing, which was originally created at the University of Chicago. And it was all around sort of the humanistic psychology movement that was trying to figure out, why is it that things like traditional psychotherapy so often didn't help the clients that were coming to them, right? So they eventually did this enormous study, and they wound up realizing that successful therapy clients were doing a process similar to this. They were basically finding things in their body, putting their attention on them, and using them to basically unravel and make progress, unravel their conditioning and make progress. One of the interesting ways of thinking about this is that if you just scan your body, you'll come up with things that feel energetic. You'll come up with areas that feel tight. You might come up with areas that feel pain. There's all sorts of different sensations. And when you put your attention on those sensations, a process of communication is kicked off between you and that sensation, maybe for the first time ever. Now, there's some people that think that these sensations are there trying to get our attention, and we spend most of our time just ignoring them. And because of that, they don't have a lot of trust in us when we do begin to try to communicate with them. A great analogy that's often used for this is that as you begin that trust-building process with these sensations in your body, it's very akin to like having a baby deer, some timid baby animal that's on the edge of a tree line, and you're standing in the middle of a clearing, and you have some food in your hand for the baby deer, right? And you're trying to coax the baby deer or the timid baby animal, whatever it is, out from the tree line to eat this food out of your hand. Well, as you can imagine, that's not likely to happen right away. It takes time for that animal to trust you, to feel safe walking out into that clearing, and so on. It's that type of relationship with these sensations in our body. It's like they have something to communicate to us. There's something there, right? And we can connect to it. We can establish a connection to it. We can establish communication with it, and we can use it to and recondition our systems very effectively, oftentimes when other things simply won't work because the other methods try to get at things from other directions that simply are ineffective for this type of conditioning. So this type of body-based deconditioning is very powerful. And it can even produce very sharp physical jerks and, extreme sort of like contractions of your muscles and contort you and, all sorts of things like that. If you have that happen as part of this process, just let it happen. Whatever happens, just let it happen. Just let it unfold. Just let your body release this stuff. You don't actually have to understand anything about what was behind that sensation to just let it release. Sometimes it'll just, dissolve like it was nothing. Other times it will be, an intense physical process. Other times it might feel like an intense energetic or emotional process, and so on. And as you're putting your attention on a place like that, again, it's like layers of an onion. Something went in there a long time ago, and more and more and more and more has been built up around it. So when you are first communicating with it and you're really communicating with the outer layers, don't think to yourself, great, okay, I've figured it out. Fantastic, I'm going to move on to something else now. You've probably just peeled away some of the outside layers. You've got a bunch of other layers to go. to get down in it. So you really want to sort of keep at it. You can tell when you're making progress because it will shift. That's a great thing about this type of method, is that it will physically change the experience in your body. So you can tell if you're making progress. You can tell if it goes away. You can tell if it shifts from something that feels negative to something that feels positive, and so on. All right, well, I did not long ago for another one of our more advanced programs, a guided meditation where I took people through this process. And I've decided to make it available for you so that you can practice going through it with me literally kind of walking you through one version of this. Now, I want you to keep in mind that there really is no perfectly right way to do this. This is a very intuitive, flexible, patient kind of process. But nonetheless, it'll give you a flavor for what one of these sessions looks like for you. We've also included a link on this page to the Focusing website and to some of their information, which is fantastic and gives you much more of an overview and their view of it and all of that as well. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get you on to that meditation, and I'll see you on the next video.